welcome back everybody to another episode of DNA Crows. I'm your host, Andrew the Comic Crow, and this
is your other host, Dean of DA Talks.
Yeah, do that a little bit more smooth.
I felt like that was probably the most smooth I've done it.
Oh wait, okay, no more energy.
Alright, you start us off.
No, whatever you did, I just want you to do the opposite of it. Okay, so we just got done with our little clickbait video, and we're doing a very serious video today, actually, about the Alabama abortion ban. This was going all over Twitter today.
Yeah.
Yeah, some real crazy takes. So, Alabama has basically banned abortion outright, and they've made no exceptions for rape, incest. And I'm sure someone's going to make a hillbilly cousin joke, but let's be professional. Make a joke.
I'm pretty sure Alabama needs the incest abortion rights the most. I mean, if we're just being honest.
Yeah. Okay, no, look.
Don't want any three-eyed children running around.
Obviously, this is upsetting people immensely. I'm pro-life religiously. There are reasons for that. I'm definitely not for a bill like this, only because I don't think that you can really make someone who's been raped carry the child. I really think that there should be a circumstance for that.
I'm pro-choice. Don't get me wrong. I do believe after a certain point, you're a bad person.
Yeah.
I also don't believe in just continuously getting abortions.
I think the main issue right now, and this is where I really fall in line with the pro-life side, is that most of the abortions being performed, like the vast majority, are not being done because of rape, because of incest, or even because of the birth not being viable. They're just straight up being done as contraception, and that really does turn my stomach. Now, here's the thing. I have a sneaking suspicion that the reason why the bill is framed this way is because they are trying to get Roe v. Wade overturned. They are basically trying to set up a challenge that will hit the Supreme Court, and of course there is a conservative lead on the Supreme Court right now, so it's very likely that if a challenge did hit, they could get it overturned. Now, that's a big if. I have an idea that that's why the bill is as strict as it is.
Yeah, I think I would agree that that's probably the plan. Once again, I disagree with those choices.
Oh, I thought you were pro-choice.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, no, look, I think the reason why it's come to this stage, though, is because the abortion debate has really just gone to two extreme ends. And by that I mean there are no compromises anymore. Unfortunately, you have people on the pro-choice side. No, not you.
Not me. I already know where you're going.
Yeah, they've turned this into a you're trying to control women's bodies. You're trying to turn this into Handmaid's Tale. You hate women. You're a misogynist. Blah blah.
In fairness, you do. I'm just joking.
Piss off, man. No, but look, here's the problem with doing that. There are many women that are pro-life. And
yes,
I basically, there was this tweet going around. This girl tweets out about, what have you pro-lifers ever done for low-income women who are single mothers or pregnant? And it's just this long list of replies of people going on about how they volunteer, how their families have taken many women in, how they work for pro-life centers that help these mothers who can't take care of the baby find the baby a better home, or find parents that want the baby if they don't want it. Tweet after tweet, reply after reply, and I'm sitting there going like, yeah, that's generally what the pro-life movement's about. There's this stigma that they go, once the baby's born, you won't care about it. There's one person going on about how there are so many who want the baby unless it's gay or trans, and I'm like, no, look, it's an innocent life. That's basically where the argument is, and the problem is you have too many people on the pro-choice side who have too loud of a voice in which they just demonize the opposition. So there's no talking anymore. There's no compromise. And I was seeing somebody go about how you couldn't even make an exception for rape or incest. And I don't know how many people were like, yeah, but even if they did, you'd still be just as outraged. And I'm sitting there going like, yeah, you're hiding behind rape victims at that point.
Yeah, I would agree. But I think what Alabama did is disgusting. I mean, I think what most Alabama is about is disgusting in general. But
no more incest jokes.
I mean, I think we all got the implication. But no, it is wrong.
See, I don't think that, but it's for different reasons.
I mean, I think it's wrong on all fronts. I mean, I would agree with the argument you couldn't even make an exception for rape or incest. That's fucked up, but I do understand
even if you had that there.
Most people that take that argument would still be just as outraged.
Yeah, so to me that's kind of a moot point.
I am outraged either way, but man, you really couldn't have made that. Like,
here's my issue, right? There is no constitutional amendment. There is no law in place. Roe v. Wade is one of the things that I really find disgusting about what our Supreme Court is.
I think the Supreme Court
let me just make the point here. The Supreme Court, any judge, is not there to make laws from the bench. They are there to dictate and determine the laws. Now, if Roe v. Wade gets overturned, I would fully expect people to make a law that allows it in the case of rape, right? I would fully support that, honestly, because I know there are going to be people who go, well, you can't equate one evil with another act of evil, ending life. But you know, I'm about free will, and if there's no free will in play there, I don't think it's right. At least in the first trimester, before the baby is viable outside the womb without medical equipment, with medical equipment. But you know, again, Roe v. Wade's one of the things I think is wrong with the country, where you have the Supreme Court, unelected officials who have no term limits, basically sitting there and creating laws. That's a form of tyranny.
I would totally agree with that. The Supreme Court was only supposed to be there to dictate what a law is, like the what it all entails, what it means, and they just ended up starting to make laws. And, that is wrong. It's actually pretty disgusting. That's not how our government is supposed to work, and every president that can get a Supreme Court justice in it is doing it so they can basically work for their party.
Absolutely.
And go around our government checks and balances, and that's wrong.
Well, and you definitely see how messed up it gets when they are appointing a Supreme Court justice. I mean, you see all sorts of games get played trying to fold off the nominations. I mean, you saw it with Kavanaugh, how nasty that got. But look, you know, maybe we need to look at the way our Supreme Court is. Maybe we need to put term limits. You know, that's a little bit of a different subject right now.
I think everything should have term limits in our government. But that is a different topic.
I think we'd agree on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, term limits for everybody: senators, congresswomen. Congressperson.
I was surprised Ted Cruz wanted term limits that would get him effectively
I'm pretty sure it was because he wanted to run for president at that point.
This was after.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, good for you, Ted Cruz. Look, if you want to stay in politics forever, I'd say local politicians, you know, city councilmen, mayors, and everything.
I could agree with that.
But if you want to be a congressperson or a senator
or a Supreme Court justice,
you really need a term limit, because that is just ridiculous.
Jesus Christ, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Right? I think she's like dying, and they're still trying to keep her on the bench. It's insane. But look, that's wrong. You don't have someone sitting there for what, 100 years? Oh man, if she passes away, I'm gonna feel like a massive dick.
She passes away tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Don't even air this.
Oh god. No, we can edit that.
No, I would only edit that part in. Like the whole video would just be.
Yeah, the whole video would just be that on repeat. The ComicCrowe hates RBG, pisses on her grave.
Another clickbait video.
Oh yeah, right. No, look. I think what Alabama did here is pretty intentional. I think it is to get Roe v. Wade overturned. Now, I'm not okay with the way the bill is framed, obviously. I don't think that you should have, I think you should have a case for rape being an exception. Now,
what if did they put an exception for if the mother is at risk of dying?
Yeah, because I think that's about the mother dying. Now, here's the thing. I think that if it's a baby that they think will not go to term, there is no exception for that. And I could be wrong here. I need to look into it.
Yeah, we need to look into that.
There are plenty of cases of the baby being told.
That is intense.
It is. No, it is. And like I said, I think it's because they want to force a challenge.
Yeah.
It is totally intentional.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about that. You also have to understand there are babies that the mothers get told that the baby is likely won't go to term, and they're perfectly fine, perfectly viable abortion. A perfectly viable birth.
Yeah. I think that. Yeah, that is a problem, but I think that can be fixed.
Well, now here's the thing that I have an issue with, right? Because I think that our society is really, I don't want to say dependent on it, but so ingrained with abortion that if you are going to take that away, then you need to step up the other things that you have in place there. You need better sexual education. You do need to find a way to provide birth control for teenagers.
See, I would say that,
or at least like a way for them to get it.
I think that you need that on either way, because I believe in
abortion. I won't disagree.
But I think if you educate people and a whole bunch of other steps, you could have a small amount of abortions.
Well,
with it being legal, but the problem is we have it legal, and they're like, well, that's it. Like, no, just because
it's like Planned Parenthood. They always go on with that. Oh, they provide all these other services. I'm sitting on like, yeah, that's bull.
They do provide a lot of other services.
Yeah, I mean, like,
they really do.
The main thing that they're doing there are abortions, though.
A lot of their centers are actually non-abortion centers. There's a lot that are. There's a lot that aren't.
Well, I mean, I could be wrong here, but here's the thing. Planned Parenthood lobbies for this crap of late-term abortions. They try to extend a lot. Yeah, it's hard for me to sit there and justify anything that they do. And, I was talking to someone very close to me today, and she was really, really upset about the bill. She had a different view than I do, and I respect her entirely. But one of the things she was really concerned about was how this was going to affect black people, and it was really upsetting hearing what she had to say. But I kind of understood her point. But one of the things I think that this could only help the black community. Different take, but that's just because I think it's something like black women are somewhere around 9% of the female population in the country, and they are getting 30% of the abortions done. I'm looking at that number. I'm like, there is something very wrong there.
Yeah. See, I'm not too sure. I haven't actually looked at numbers, data on.
Yeah. No. It's one of those.
I'm not
things.
doubting it. I'm also not saying it's true. But if it is, that is sad.
So I was saying, like, I know that you think that this is somehow targeting that community, but at the same time I'm sitting there going, how could having more black babies not actually help them out? right? If you have a larger voice, if you have more people, you can get more things done generally. That's what I would think.
I mean, I guess that's an interesting way of looking at it. I mean, to some degree it makes sense. But going back to the educating and I mean, whether or not you have abortion legal, you totally should be educating, because you really could have abortion legal and have it be a low amount of abortions if you provided services that could stop educating young people and even educating older people.
If you want to be a parent and you want to say, well, this is my religious, fine, you still need to educate your children, because they're going to figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
I mean, you were a teenager once.
I still act like it.
Yeah, you do. But look, kids are going to figure this stuff out. You got to teach your kids, because that's basically where it starts. It does start in the home.
Oh, yeah.
If when I say you need to make contraception available, I don't mean give it out for free, but let teenagers purchase it if they need to, because kids, they're going to have sex as much as you want to stop them from doing it. They are going to. They're going to do it with each other. They're going to do it as soon as they can, as soon as they find another person that's willing. And I'm not saying everybody, but yeah, a good portion of them, especially if you're not educating them about it. You're not educating them about the risk.
I think the problem is people rely on schools to educate their kid.
But then they get outraged when the school does it.
Some people do, but some people are relying on the school. But here's the thing: is it's on you to educate your kid.
Yeah, no, it is.
And it's on you to make sure that your kid is getting educated in any field that you, well, not just that you feel is important, just anything that is important. Look, schools are there, yeah, sure, but schools aren't going to educate your kid on shit. It's up to you as a parent.
I know, 100%. Look, if you're not doing it, they'll figure it out. And if they figure it out on their own, I'm sure you're going to be just as upset. But look, it's on you at that point. It really is. And again, look, this is a potential. This may not even happen. This may not really be the point. We could be off base here entirely. But look, if and I'll say this for people who are pro-life, because I'm definitely pro-life. If this is the way it's going to be, you have to understand our society views things very differently than the way they used to. We need to do a much better job at actually educating.
Yeah.
Birth contraceptives, look, I got no issue with it. I know some people really do, but I see no reason why you shouldn't make that available. You shouldn't be sitting there getting upset if your children are interested. And when I say children, I'm talking teenagers, 16, 17, 18. They're going to do this stuff. You're going to prevent abortion, something that a lot of them think is just how they get these things sorted out and handled. And if they, put it like this, if you're going to have sex, go get a damn birth control kit. Or not birth control, but a pregnancy test. Check it. Damn it. What? I'm always surprised when people have sex and they go, how was I supposed to know? To use your damn brain.
Yeah, you were having sex? Yeah, I mean, like I said, I am pro-choice, but I believe abortion is like a very last step, and you shouldn't be getting it all the time. You should be relying on other methods of not having kids. And I wouldn't have an abortion. I mean, granted, I can't. It's not like I can get pregnant, but that doesn't mean.
Can't? I've been trying to knock them up for weeks.
Yeah, I've been lying to him and just using that as an excuse to get sex. But
hello, Alabama. I had to do it. We love you, Alabama.
You got me so off track.
I know, that was the point. Look, like I said,
screw you.
The reason why.
Good point.
Yeah. The reason why we're here right now, though, the reason why Alabama is doing this, you got to understand, you completely demonized one side of the movement. You said that they had no right to say anything about it. You made this a men versus women issue when there are many pro-life women. And now they're trying to turn into a racial issue. Look, that's not going to work. You got to acknowledge when somebody has a point.
Yeah, you can't be afraid of conversation.
And not to mention, look, there would be a reasonable standard. I think you could get people that are pro-life to, for the most part, agree to. You're going to have the religious folk, but I just mean even the secular people that are pro-life. If you just kept it to first trimester, if you actually cared about rape victims.
Yeah, I only agree with first trimester. Anything past that just is...
If they actually cared about rape victims, you would have had a conversation in which that was your main focus. Instead, you hide behind rape victims to justify it as contraceptive. That was never going to work. You got to acknowledge when you're doing something wrong. You got to acknowledge when the other side has a point. Like I said, I acknowledge the point of rape. I totally do. I'm not going to overlook that. I completely get it. There's a lack of free will there. There was a lack of choice. There was a lack of responsibility because they had no choice in engaging in the act. But, when you take an extreme position, when you say there is no debate to be had, well, guess what? The other side agreed with you. No debate.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Because like I said, I'm pro-choice, but I'm not afraid to have the discussion. We're having the discussion.
Yeah. I believe my girlfriend's pro-choice too. She, very upset about the Alabama bill. She doesn't like where things are going. But again, you shut down debate. You shut down conversation. You kept trying to shame people into agreeing with you. It's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. If you think that that's a way of moving forward, you're only going to wind up with disappointment.
Yeah. But I can understand why some people do get very emotional about this topic.
I do.
And I can understand why they react the way they do. That doesn't make it okay. But at least I can understand.
I can't, here's the thing though. I'm not talking about the regular people. I'm specifically talking about folks in the media who have a responsibility. I'm talking about the politicians who have a responsibility.
Yeah, but they're not the only people that
but they're,
take that approach.
You know what though? They're the ones with the biggest platforms. They're the ones who are pushing this nonsense. Well, you have Alyssa Milano who's decided to rename abstinence a sex strike. So, way to go, genius.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was really dumb.
Yeah, this sex strike thing is. Do it. I don't care, but that's. Yeah, that is abstinence. That's
basic abstinence. And guess what? The super religious folks, they agree with you, Alyssa. So, yeah. Flawless thunkery again.
Don't have sex until we can figure this whole abortion thing out. Well,
yeah, you figured it out. No abortion. Look, I'm just saying, this goes beyond just abortion. We have plenty of problems in many different areas, and I'm just going to say it. It's generally not the right that is shutting down conversation and debate and discourse on these things. It's generally the left doing it. It's generally the left demonizing the other side and refusing to acknowledge that they have any reason to disagree other than they're just bad, evil people. As soon as you did that, the moment you say that there is no debate, they're going to agree with you, and you're not going to get your way. You're going to get your way in some areas, but in other places you're not. You're going to have to freaking deal with it.
Yeah.
If you're not okay with it, maybe cut this nonsense of, they're just racist and bigot. Cut it out, or it's just going to get worse. You are at a serious portion of actually getting Roe v. Wade overturned because of your stupidity, because of your inability to actually have a conversation, because your inability to compromise on anything.
In fairness, you calling them stupid isn't going to make them want to have a conversation.
You know what, I would say that, except I see people just relentlessly calling the pro-life movement idiots.
And I get that, and I totally understand, right?
But I know you're right.
Just because they say you guys are stupid, when you react the same way, it's just that leaves out all conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody
guess you're right.
has to.
You want me to be the bigger man here?
I think everybody should try to, and just because other people aren't doesn't mean that you shouldn't.
No, okay, you know what? You get that point there. Look, things need to change. Yeah. If they don't change, it can only get worse. It ain't going to get better anytime soon if we don't start working towards a better future. I don't have anything more to say on this, do you?
No, I guess all I would say is everybody has the right to an opinion, and we would love to hear yours. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of DNA Crows. It was a little bit of a heavier discussion.
A little bit of a longer discussion, too.
Yeah, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the future. We'll see if we're right, if we're wrong, if this whole thing was just a totally moot point.
Yeah.
But stay safe out there.
Yeah.